So, South African snacks, let's talk about it. So if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you are one of three things. I know some of you are screaming if you're seeing this because you know, if you know, you know.
I'm actually jealous for those of you who've never tried any of these because I hope that I actually inspire you to do so, and you are going to be so thankful that you listened to what I have to say about these things.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome, and if you are not subscribed yet, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. So if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you are one of three things. You're a curious American or someone from Europe who is just curious about different types of food. You're a South African, so you want to know what I have to say about your snacks. Or you're a Southern African like myself. I'm from Zimbabwe. And you probably can relate to some of the things that I'm about to say. So I'm going to cater to all of y'all, okay?
Here, right here. All your needs will be met.
I'm hungry!
In a minute!
I am going to basically go over some of the items that I got in a recent haul. I ordered these things from a place called African Hut, and I believe their actual physical space is in Laguna Beach in California. And I remember when I came across their website, I was so excited. I was like, oh, thank you, God. Everything is unopened except one thing because I couldn't wait. I had to open it. This is black pepper biltong. So long story short, biltong is basically dried meat. And the process of creating biltong was so that people who were on the road could have something to eat that didn't require refrigeration. Biltong, for my Americans, this is like your jerky equivalent, but I'm sorry, this is better. In my opinion, this tastes better. I find that jerky, it kind of tastes a bit plastic, or like there's a film of plastic covering the meat. And I feel like the flavor is just not there. Actually, I'm going to show you a piece and then I'm going to eat it. Look at that. Like when I go home, I just like I just eat it all day.
Okay.
If jerky is the only thing you know, I feel sorry for you, to be honest. The other thing that I'm going to point to that's really yummy, rusks. So rusks are like, they were a way of, in terms of the preparation, they were a way of preserving bread. And you basically bake the bread twice. Now, I know how to make these like at home, but it's always nice to like have someone else do it. And this brand, and I think Bokom was the other one, those were always like my go-to rusk brands. And they're really good with like a cup of coffee or tea in the morning, especially during winter. This is something so comforting about that. They're quite big. You can't just like pop them in your mouth. You need to take your time with them, but that's the intention, for you to enjoy this with like a cup of tea. And a lot of people use them kind of like dunkers. Think of them as like an oversized biscotti, but it's less sweet. Yeah. I also got some Mrs. H.S. Ball's peach chutney. So they have like a bunch of flavors, but this one's my favorite. I feel like there's another one that's like spicy that I like. But as you know, chutney is really good to eat with curry. And I actually don't know what the story is behind Miss H.S. Ball's chutney, but I just know that I love it. Speaking of saucy things, this is some Spur BBQ sauce, and I'm actually going to use that this weekend to marinate some ribs. Maybe it's just in my mind and I'm just connecting it to like the sense of nostalgia, but I personally think it's one of the better ones. A lot of people use this at their braais, which is like the Southern African version of barbecues. You'll see a lot of people use this on their wings as well. Shisanyama. So nyama, at least in Shona, which is the language that I grew up mostly speaking, it means meat. And it's a term that's used in other languages to also mean meat. This brand, Robinsons, they make some of the best spices. Like, I swear by them. As a matter of fact, I have 2 others that I'm going to refer you to, like spice blends. But Shisanyama is really delicious. And every time I marinate my meat in any of their seasonings, especially this one and the steak and chops, my meat always comes out like perfect. So I would recommend this for most proteins, especially when you're doing like a barbecue or something. I got 2 others. So I got their spice for fish, which I absolutely love. Again, you can find many other like fish spices, but you know what? Actually, no, this is not as common. I feel like when I'm looking for fish seasoning, I always have to either go to an international store or the international aisle in a grocery store, which is strange to me because I'm like, it's not just Old Bay. Like, you can use other blends to season your fish. I don't get that. But anyway, but yeah, fish for spice is really good. And so is, I'm sorry, spice for fish. I said fish for spice. And so is their spice for rice. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit that even though I grew up like seeing this and seeing it being used and using it myself, I sometimes take for granted that rice should be treated with care and love. Like, you shouldn't just cook it in water and call it a day. You need to season your rice.
I think we needed salt and pepper.
No, there's no salt and pepper in it. But you can add it yourself.
It's really good. And it just adds so much flavor to your rice. So I would recommend getting these 2. Also by Robinsons. This is great for like if you want to do like a breaded something or other. This is like a pre-mixed crispy coating that you can put onto your protein. So this one is for fish. And as you can see, they use the same fish that I just showed you as like the seasoning blend that goes along with the crispy coating. But the one that I have tried is the one that they have for their chicken, but not this one specifically. And when I say this one specifically, I mean one that uses Peri or Peri. Speaking of Peri, I know I got something else. So this is also something that I haven't tried yet. And South Africans, please, or anyone else who's tried this, I'd be curious to know what you think before I use it. Please put it in the comments. This is like a sauce, a marinade sauce, and it's Peri. Ina Parman's Kitchen. I've never tried this one before. Excellent for fish, seafood, chicken, and lamb. Suitable for grills, casseroles, oven, or micro bakes and pan fries. And speaking of spices, and I mentioned curries earlier. So again, if you know, you know. Robinsons, they make these really great spice blends. So they have mild, medium, and hot. So I usually like to get both, but in this case, I just got the hot because I already have some mild spice blends. I think I have like a Jamaican spice blend that I'm still getting to. And that one's pretty mild. It's worth trying if you're someone who cooks curry a lot. I'll say that. Okay, so I know some of you are screaming if you're seeing this because you know, if you know, you know. There's like 100 bazillion all-purpose seasonings, but this one, I swear they put like something in these things to make you addicted. It's so good. And it works on absolutely anything you can imagine. If you see me get 2 of something, you already know that it's probably really good. And I'm going to go through it fast. Matter of fact, I'm making some mac and cheese this weekend. I'm going to use this in the mac and cheese. So, guavas. One of the things that I found so frustrating when I came to the US for the first time is the lack of guavas. It's just not really a thing here, although I was shocked the one time I saw them in Walmart. And then sometimes I'll see them occasionally in some stores and it's labeled like a super tropical fruit and, you know, you rarely ever see it, which is fine because I also don't want them to force it if it's just not available. I grew up with a guava tree. I used to climb that tree and just sit in it. They weren't sprayed with anything. You had to be careful because sometimes there'd be worms that got there first. And then also, there was a chance that a monkey might be up there, you know. And then speaking of fruits that I grew up with, I swear we had like 10 fruit trees in my garden. And one of them, and one of my favorite, and one that's still bearing fruit to this day, is the mulberry tree. So mulberries, and you know, let me just say, I was so excited when I saw this because you cannot, like I've seen like dried mulberries or like the powder or something like that in one of these like specialty stores like Whole Foods, but mulberries are really hard to get in the US. Maybe I just haven't looked in the right place. Please let me know in the comments, but it's almost impossible. And so I usually have to just like stick to blackberries. These would be so good on like some French toasts, some pancakes, a sponge cake. I don't know, but just, oh my God. This blew my mind. And this is one of the products that is produced in the UK, in England. I couldn't believe when I saw this. I was like, what? So this is by Joe and Steph's. It's a gourmet popcorn chef and connoisseur. But they make this hot cross bun spread. I mean, have you ever heard of this before? This is crazy. If you know me, I love hot cross buns.
Come on! What is better than hot cross buns with some butter, a cup of tea? It's such a beautiful thing.
So you can imagine my excitement when I saw this, especially since I love caramel. So this is something that I haven't tasted, and when I do, I will let you know what I think. Eclairs, y'all. This is my #1 favorite chocolate caramel candy in the world. I am a sucker for these. They're terrible for your teeth. So you gotta I think the best way to eat them, don't chew it, God forbid. Like you will have cavity galore. I'm trying to think what they compare to. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of kind of caramel candies on the market. And these are soft caramel candies, not hard ones. Speaking of Cadbury, there's 2 chocolates that they just mean everything to me. Without fail, I touch ground, I get these. So Topdeck is basically, so it's part of the Cadbury family. Unfortunately, I don't think you can get these in the US. I've only seen dark milk nut, which has almonds, or is it hazelnuts? And then the fruited nut, which has raisins or dried fruit and nuts. But these 2, I think, are my favorite. So this one is Topdeck. So Topdeck is basically a bottom layer of milk chocolate, and then on top, there's a square of white chocolate. Biscuit is also another one of my faves. So Biscuit has literally pieces of biscuit in it. I want to say almost like a tennis biscuit. So these are made by Nestle, and they're called Smarties. And so I think, yeah, for Americans, you might be like, wait a minute, that's not the Smarties that I grew up with. Yeah, it's not. It's like a thin, almost like an eggshell sort of candy, very thin. And then in the inside, it's just solidified chocolate. It's not they're not super hard. But I used to love them when people used them on cakes. That for me was every time I went to a birthday party or something and I saw them, I'd get so excited. And then they also make chocolates that have Smarties in them. But yeah, Smarties are they're fun. They're fun and they remind me of my childhood. And they also come in little boxes as well, which I used to love carrying those around. But of course, they melt. So the worst thing is if you let your Smarties melt and then there would be this rainbow spillage all over the place. And you did not want that on your clothes. Now, let's go onto the biscuits. I think that's where we're at right now. All right. Romany Creams. Dun, 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 dun. So I have managed to learn how to make these after much research and trial and error. I think I've got the recipe down pat now, or at least as close as I can get. But Romany Creams are basically chocolate cookies with coconut in them. And they are irresistible. Especially if you're someone who likes both chocolate and coconut, you just will pass out. Although there was this one chocolate in Zimbabwe, which I couldn't stand. And it was a chocolate bar, but I think I didn't like it because I think it was called Island or something. Please, again, in the comments, Zimbabweans, help me out here. It was a chocolate bar that had a really thin layer of chocolate and then all this sweetened coconut packed in. And I don't know, I think I just didn't like the way they flavored or sweetened the coconut in the center. It was kind of gross. And another baker's product that I absolutely love are Choc-kits. Now, Choc-kits, their whole thing is the use of oats. So I think oats are another low-key ingredient that are actually super magical when you make biscuits with them. There's something about when they caramelize and then I don't know, they're just, oh my gosh. Okay, let me put it this way. It's like granola in biscuit form. If you are addicted to granola like me, you will like these. And I just mentioned that there's another biscuit or cookie that has oats, and I talked about caramelization. So these really take it to the next level, or at least focus in on that part. They don't have any chocolate, but you don't need it. The caramel flavor or notes, and then the oats themselves do all the work. I also know how to make these. It's pretty simple for the most part. They're called Nuttikrust and they're addictive. Also made by bakers. So thank you, bakers. You guys are amazing. And last but not least, in the biscuit realm, ginger nuts. So here, of course, in the US, you can get ginger snap. These are really popular during like the fall or autumn. I love the taste of ginger, especially with like a little bit of sugar. But yeah, these are some of my favorite biscuits as well. And I give that to my grandmother, so my father's mother. She always used to give us ginger biscuits when we'd go over to her house, either as like a treat or to have with during tea time. So they have a special place in my heart. So in terms of like more wholesome snacks, there's two things here that I got. So the first is Weet-Bix. These are Bocomos. This is the brand that I was saying. They also make rusks. But I got these. So it says SA's #1 cereal. I'm sure some people would disagree with that. But I don't know. These are like not for kids. These are more like adults, like an adult who wants some high fiber type of starter. And they talk about that at the back. So it talks about, high fiber, blah, 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 start to your day. And they're really nice, just soaked in some warm milk. That's like, I wouldn't eat these often, but when I did, I always used to be like, man, I should eat these more. If you took like bran flakes and like packed them tight together to make like a bar, that's what they would taste like, but less branny, if that's even a word. But yeah, they're quite nice. I like them. I also got some Provita, also by bakers. You know what? At this point, bakers, y'all need to sponsor me.
So pick me, choose me, love me.
These are basically, they're just like crackers. My mom used to eat them a lot, particularly when she was like doing dieting stuff. And they just, I don't know, they're just like a really nice snack. I'm sure there's equivalents here in the US, but I just saw them. And again, I got a bit nostalgic. So I was like, I'm going to get some Provita. But yeah, you just put a little bit of cottage cheese or hummus or something like that. And whatever healthy toppings you want to get, just like have a high fiber, low fat treat. And then last but not least, tea.
Meanwhile, we have to watch that dreadful woman parade around the village as if she owned it.
I got 2 teas. So I got Rooibos. Rooibos you can get in the US. Long story short, the bush grows in South Africa. It's unique to South Africa. It's caffeine free. I don't know how to explain it, but when you put like honey and lemon, it tastes even better. You can drink it with or without milk. I personally grew up liking it with milk. It's a good like afternoon tea. A lot of people, they like this combo. But, just quick word on this. Again, I just think their brand is, Freshpak makes some of the best Rooibos. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I think most people agree with me. Another brand that makes really good tea is 5 Roses. And again, you might see people putting these two together. So I got they have like this really strong black tea. You could make it iced like how they propose in the back, but I prefer it hot with a bunch of milk. And 5 Roses has really high quality tea. So I'm done reviewing my South African snacks. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.